For this year's three pieces, for the anniversary pieces,
Yeah.
I find I can't help it. I'm drawn to the Gyro-Tourbillon 3 as the most fascinating of the bunch. I was wondering if that decision had been made to focus on the continuing development of the Gyro-Tourbillon for the anniversary, or I assume it's a continuing process.
No, actually, it's a continuing process, and for the anniversary, we just wanted to carry on while the process that was already engaged. And Gyro-Tourbillon for us, it remains a tourbillon which is fascinating. So we thought this could be a good way to further anchor what we started in 2004. So the first grand competition was 10 years ago, and the Gyro-Tourbillon being something which still fascinates today our clients and the collectors. So we thought, after making developing all the Ibris Mechanica collection, to also finish again or to actually mark the anniversary with the Gyro-Tourbillon was a good way to reinforce the fact that we based our development on existing invention, but we always go a step ahead. So to highlight the philosophy of Jaeger-LeCoultre, okay, we can rely on our inventions, but those inventions, they always bring something new, and it's not just the same than what we did 10 years ago.
True.
So I think it was maybe not that conscious when we did it, but that was a good way to further demonstrate that taking existing complications, you could bring them at a higher level if you wanted to.
We knew you'd be doing something special for the anniversary, but I was pleasantly surprised to see that was there on offer. I find all of them interesting, but this new one I haven't had a chance to really absorb it yet.
Okay, yeah.
What would you say is different about it compared to the first two?
Well, I would say that first in terms of functioning and in terms of impression, we reinforce the Gyro-Tourbillon by making it flying. So that means it's even more impressive because you can see even better than the first one. And by having the three-dimensional hairspring, so the spherical hairspring, that gives an even better union between the hairspring and the Gyro-Tourbillon. So to have this spherical hairspring inside makes that it is almost the perfection between the outside and the inside of the tourbillon.
Did I hear that correctly? To make one of the spherical hairsprings, it takes 2 days?
Yeah.
Just to make the spring?
Just to make, no, not, well, it's once we had the spring, just to build the final curves and to assemble the spring with balance. That's or at least 2 days. Because if you want to reach the best precision, it's not only just a matter of building the final curves, but you need to be so precise on the two sides of the hairspring that this requires a lot of patience to build those two curves. Because you need to have the perfect symmetry between the curve which is on the one side and the final curve which is on the opposite side. Otherwise, you don't have the precision. And that's something that you don't have in a regular hairspring because you have just one final curve or no final curve. So in our case, it improves the precision only if it's if the final curves are perfectly built. And that's why it takes so long because you have to make a video curve, go and check on a big projector to see if you are to the micron. You have to check your curve, and then you come back, you modify it, you go back and check, and so on. And that's why it takes that long. There's only one person at Jaeger-LeCoultre which has the dexterity to do that, because it's a job which is not even the job of a watchmaker. That's one person which is dedicated just to make those three-dimensional hairspring.
Wow.
So if by chance you come once to Le Sentier to visit us, you'll be able to see that person.
See the one
that
person.
makes all our three-dimensional hairspring. Yeah, exactly.
But are you training anyone to do?
It's that this person just replaced another one that retired. So of course That's we have very talented people which are doing the other springs, and if necessary, we could find someone that could be trained to replace the person.
Because you've seen so many people where one person does something and they just can't train, you know.
Absolutely. Yeah. But at JLC, as we do many spring and so on, we have people who are quite skilled with that, and we are not afraid of relying on one person, because we know that we could find other people being able to do that. It's a question of time to train those persons. And then just to finish answering your question about the Gyrotourbillon, probably in terms of design, we managed to create something which is more impactful, where each element actually of the design find its right place on the dial. And compared to the first one, probably we, along with the Gyrotourbillon, we find a good way of displaying the time, which is quite aligned on the Gyrotourbillon. And then on the second axis, which is crossing 3 to 9, we placed the chronograph and the night in the indication. So if you look carefully at the construction of the design and the different function on the dial, there's the balance,
it
which
is a nice balance.
Quite nice, but that was quite hard to achieve, because at the beginning everything was floating on the dial, and you need to work a lot to place the functions so that you find a good balance and you have the impression that everything is in harmony with the circle built by the case.
I imagine that would be a tough final decision to make, deciding what the final look of the dial is.
Of course, but that's our job, so that's what we do all the time, but that's all the time to find the right positions of the functions and to have the good balance, and of course to work a lot with the watchmakers, because design and the technique which is behind the dial, everything has to match, so you cannot just say, okay, I'm going to put the function there. You have always to interact with watch designers, with the watchmakers, in order to be sure that everything will work. And that's the advantage of having integrated design and all the development, is that the designer are working along with the watchmakers and the watch designer to achieve what you see.
It is a handsome piece. It's a nice looking watch.